Greetings and salutations, everybody. It's kinetic aesthetic time. It is your boy Germ. Hope you're having a great start to your Monday, and I hope that your week continues to be great. But without further ado, to the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Lady, it's kinetic aesthetic time. And without further ado, I'm going to just jump right ahead into it. So I just want to make sure I tell y'all before we go any further, like, follow, subscribe, do whatever you have to do so that you are up to date on all of the drops. And without further ado, it's kinetic aesthetic time. Rappers are not smart. In fact, I would go as so far as to say that a good portion of them are in fact dumb. And no other week has proven that more than this previous one. I'm telling y'all, over the course of this past week, I have seen some of the most idiotic criminal activity from a multitude of artists. Now listen, we've already talked about Pooh and his whole failed robbery of Gucci Mane, but ever since that dropped, it's been updates in that, and we've just had so much other stuff. We've had a lot of people just trying to put their hat in the ring to see if they can get Crash out of the year. Now, starting off, we're going to have to talk about Offset and his whole situation. He is, of course, the Migos member who has been having a rough couple of days since getting shot, reportedly in his ass, over a dispute with used-to-be relevant rapper Lil tjay. Now, this conflict really just comes down to $10,000 that tjay apparently lent to Offset. Now, according to tjay, his side of the story is that he saw Offset in the casino. He saw him while he was stressing. I guess Offset was down bad. We're going to get into that a little later. And, I guess he was asking motherfuckers for some money. tjay decided to lend it to him, threw him $10K, $1,000, even if you're a rapper, that's still the type of money you're going to ask somebody like, yo, what's up? You good with that? And so he did. And this is, according to tjay himself, once he reached out to Offset to ask him for the money back. And before I go any further, I have to just based off the DMs that were shared, he pretty much opened this up by sort of asking him for it back and then threatening him. And then Offset replied back by telling him to get it back in blood. And it was up from there. Because y'all can tell when a nigga comes at you and tells you that he feels like smacking the shit out of you over some money and you tell him to get it back in blood, there's not much left to insinuate about how y'all feel about each other. So, first off, you shouldn't be shooting anybody. Like, even if this shit was over some money, regardless of how much it is, no amount of money is worth popping a nigga, especially when you are in the middle of a casino. I don't know if people understand this, but casinos are they keep security around, they keep cameras around, they're going to catch you. There's no real getting away. And this was a type of situation where instead of recognizing the time and place as a thing, especially tjay chose ego and pride over logic. And to make matters worse for this man, for himself, after he gets arrested for it and he's granted bail, instead of staying quiet, he chooses to, as he's doing his whole walk out of jail thing and reporters are in his face, he gives everybody the scoop they're looking for. He's answering questions. He's calling Offset a rat. He's saying he'd smack the shit out of him again, just threatening him, which isn't very smart coming fresh out of jail. And he's just proclaiming again and again, he don't do no fighting. Offset would never try him. He's a rat. He's a rat. Just straight court jester shit. And I mean, I guess I understand his mindset. Like I said before, this is a nigga who has not been relevant for years for his music. I'm not entirely certain what his whole claim to fame music-wise is, but this is the most, I've really even been able to pay attention to Lil tjay since he himself got shot not too long, like a couple years ago. So that's why he's cheesing his mugshot. So I get it from his point of view, and I don't understand the stupidity of doing all that coming out of jail, but I get why he's, just trying to pop his big. Now, when it comes to Offset, I'm worried about this man. I genuinely am. I don't expect anybody except the biggest rap nerds to notice, but this is not even the first time that Offset has allegedly been caught up due to his gambling. Now, this next story that I'm going to talk about has been denied by 42 Dugg himself, but there's been way too much noise around it, too many innuendos and just little things said by motherfuckers involved or around it. And it goes back to another petty amount of money, $10,000 by rapper standards, that Offset was reportedly into it with 42 Dugg about over a dice game. Somehow he got robbed, he got beat up or something like that. And 42 Dugg's people did it. He got done bad. that is, it's been, like I said, it was denied, so I don't want to say this like it's been guaranteed, it's been like confirmed. But the real thing about it is that this shit really always is involved in gambling when it comes to this man and his problems. The money isn't even the real issue as to why he continues to get into it with the rappers, though. It's the pride and it's the ego involved to make this shit into a court case. Like, I don't understand why Offset felt the need to respond the way he did to Lil TJ in that DM. It was clearly a situation where you're in the wrong, where you can just pay this man, even if you gotta just tell him, yo, don't talk to me like that. But Offset, for some reason, just trying to continuously rip people off and not give them back. Dez Bryant came out and like talked about a story about how he was playing dice with Offset or playing some type of, they were gambling somehow, and he won some money off Offset. And you know, he tried to go wake Offset up, and his people already looked like they was ready to fight him, and he already knew he had to just back off because either Offset didn't have the money to actually pay him, or he just wasn't going to do it at all. And so that is what leads me into my main point why I bring this up. Offset needs to get his shit under control. He needs to really understand that he is playing a dangerous game. Now, I don't understand what his situation is financially. I don't want to really pocket watch or pocket guess even. But if he is down bad on the money and he's just gambling to the point where he's gambling with borrowed money or shit that he doesn't even actually have, and he needs to go see a therapist and needs to really get his mind in order and get his whole just his body right, his mind right, everything right, because gambling addiction is real, y'all. This shit is way more in our face nowadays. We got stake, we got all this shit out here that's being advertised to young people. So it's really a big danger. It's one of the worst vices that's like sweeping across the world. But it's even worse when you are somebody like Offset, when you are running with so much pride and ego, and you always have to be Mr. Big Shot and everything else that goes along with that. You're gonna find yourself in some fucked up situations. Now, I already feel like he has a problem with like not being able to just admit that he has a problem and getting help. But even worse than that, it's like he's got this whole tough guy issue, or he has to be the baddest motherfucker. Nobody's gonna play him or test him, and I fear that that's not going to end well, especially when you continuously are just adding money involved and debts and shit into it. Offset, like, how many times are you going to have to pop up in headlines related to this shit before you get it? How many more times are you going to have gun play involved when it comes to you and owing niggas money before you end up on the wrong side of it permanently? Because you just got shot in your ass, that's one thing. But guns make every situation unpredictable. They make all this shit just way, way more life or death than any of this is. Because niggas could beat your ass to death, period. Niggas can just beat the fuck out of you until you're no longer breathing. But when you had a gun, that's adding a whole nother dimension, and that's just adding a whole nother element to it. Listen, if I'm any type of casino, if I'm anybody like that, I'm not sure I even want Offset around. Because when you have shit like this going on, you're just bad for business. All right, now this next story is honestly just crazy to me. It's the Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty update. Now, when I recorded my first episode talking about this whole situation, I came out and I tried to defend Gucci. I tried to say that I think he didn't snitch. But let me tell y'all right now, I have egg on my face. This man made me look like a fool because he most definitely was telling everything and any. Listen, even if he didn't do it to those damn police officers who made that report, he for sure did to all of us, because over this weekend, Gucci Mane decided to drop a whole diss track to Pooh Shiesty called Crash Dummy, where, I kid you not, he broke down the entire situation, talked about how he didn't believe how that was going to happen, talked about how he was set up. Nigga even made a joke about how he signed the release papers under duress. It's dry snitching, but it's snitching. Like, there's no coping about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Gucci Mane snitched. Me personally, I don't really care. Like, at this point, this man is a great man. All the people who are disappointed, I'm gonna get into them in a second, but listen, that's not the same Gucci Mane. The Gucci Mane that people keep trying to bring up, making that video talking about snitching and how it's the worst thing in the world. That's not the Gucci that came out of prison. That's not the same man. He is grown. He is matured. That's not the same guy. And I'm not talking about any clone bullshit. And that's anybody that believes in somebody that goes through something and changes, that matures, that slows down, that isn't trying to be as reckless. If you think that they have to get cloned just for them to change, then you are part of the problem. You are stuck in your ways. But no, this is who Gucci is now. He's not trying to be that same guy. And yeah, he might have been popping his shit on social media and everything and talking this and that. He might still be wishing death to snitches. And he is a hypocrite for that. But personally, I think at the end of the day, that nigga just knows that he has a whole image and it's his career. Don't nobody want to listen to a changed man who's talking about how he wants to be better and do shit like that. Sadly, that's not where we're at as a society. So I get it. I get why some people will be mad. You know, I saw definitely a collection of street niggas and street adjacent rappers who were disappointed, who couldn't believe it. But at the end of the day, nigga, that's a nigga that understands how the real world works. That shit don't matter when you're behind them bars. All that street shit, all them rules, all that bullshit, that shit is bullshit. Streets are a fucking myth. I have no real expectations for Gucci going forward. I have no real reason to think that he's going to be able to come back from this. He built his whole career off making niggas believe in shit and behave in a certain way. So for them, it's like, this is like street niggas finding out Santa Claus. This is their equivalent of finding Santa Claus isn't real. I saw somebody say that, and it's funny as hell, but it's the truth. Gucci hurt a lot of people. There's a lot of motherfuckers who probably feel like they've been lied to, and I can't blame them. I mean, it's their fault for not really. If you're a grown-ass man that's saying this shit, then that's certainly a self-exposed. I'll tell you that much. But at the end of the day, this is reality. This is life. Like, and regardless of what Gucci Mane said or he didn't say, Pooh Shiesty did this wearing an ankle monitor. My fault. His goons were showcasing all the shit they stole on social media. You can't make up the stupidity that these niggas engaged in. So we can be mad at Gucci for what he said. We can be mad at Gucci for what he did. And we can be upset that he turned his back on the principles that he brought niggas up to believe that they should be standing for. But at the end of the day, you gotta be mad at yourself if you don't see what the streets are at this point and you're above the age of 16. But Gucci, I mean, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, this is my last thought on it. Crash Dummy did go. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I count myself nodding my head a couple times. One thing Gucci is good at is making a diss track, and it's real. It's low down to really brag to this nigga while he is sitting in a jail cell about how you're still gonna be getting paid from him while he is going to prison. So I have to give Gucci his props on that one. He might have lost that battle, but this nigga is definitely going to win the war. NBA Ben 10. That is not a name I expect any of y'all to know. That is not really somebody that he doesn't make music. This is about to be a whole story about some shit. Y'all are gonna understand in a second. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with who he is the cousin of NBA YoungBoy, who you should know by now. And recently, he got shot. He got hit up a lot of times in his chest. Apparently, he took some in his chest. He took some in his spine. He's down bad right now. And he got shot multiple times while he was helping Jay Prince Jr., the son of Jay Prince, who started Rap-A-Lot Records, jump and beat on a nigga and try to steal his chains. A Detroit guy by the name of All-Star JR. Now, before I get into why this was a goofy-ass situation for him to be involved in, and before I just talk about how the main nigga who instigated this situation and is behind a lot of other bad shit is the real, like, just bad juju man of the rap scene right now, I really want to give y'all background because this whole situation is just weird in a lot of different ways. Now, first off, Ben 10 and Prince Jr. and the whole NBA, K-Trey, whatever the fuck NBA team calls themselves, and Rap-A-Lot and Mob Ties, whatever they call themselves in this for that era, are being together is just it don't make sense. That's because a couple years ago, some guys from Mob Ties broke into NBA YoungBoy's Houston home. They went in there and they just stole his car keys. And I'm not gonna get into why it happened because I'm not entirely sure like that, but it did happen and we know that it happened and they was involved because not too long afterwards you've got Jay Prince Sr., just to be clear, the real OG in the situation, coming out, and he made a whole video talking about, hey, call me, get in touch with me, I'm gonna help you get your keys back, this and that and the third. Basically doing what, as we are gonna get into, as that family is known to do, trying to extort niggas. And as anybody who knows NBA YoungBoy would expect, he was not going for it. He definitely was not just like gonna sit there and let that happen. And he popped off. He called Senior a whole bunch of bitches and hoes and everything, and the above and the third. And from what I was able to read, they eventually had to sit down and they were able to softly squash it. And I say softly because there was no indication that they were cool. You don't see NBA YoungBoy in Houston. You don't see him hanging around them or anything like that. So that begs the question: what the fuck is Ben 10, who is NBA YoungBoy's right-hand man? What is OG3, who is another one of his right-hand men and like the co-owner of the NBA label? What are they doing in Houston in the middle, involved in this scuffle, trying to get into it with this man JR? How does that happen and what goes on? It don't make sense. But what is even worse than that is what we need to talk about now, and that's Jay Prince Jr. himself, because it's honestly about time somebody put the spotlight on this Geodude head-ass Nepo baby. Now, for starters, I just got to make it clear that this man is a common denominator in some of the worst and most tragic events that have happened around hip-hop in the past couple of years. It's like he's always there. He's always involved. You look at a picture of some shit that just happened, like of a bad situation before it went south. Somehow Prince Jr. is around. First off, we have the late Takeoff, the quiet member of the Migos who was killed during a dice game where Prince Jr. was present. There's the video out there. All we know is Quavo was trying to get ready to walk away. He said something about, let me get away before I hurt one of these niggas. Next thing you know, shots go off. Takeoff gets hit. Prince Jr. is there. You even see him in one of the videos walking over Takeoff body. Then you have Duke the Jeweler from Chicago. Just the jeweler who was out here just coming up and doing his thing. He went to a boozy concert, got invited to an after party. He was there around these niggas, Prince Jr. and them. It was a dice game that they were holding. The concert was in Houston. It was the boozy concert. So he was in their city. He wins in this dice game. Apparently he won $100,000. He was getting ready to leave. As he's leaving and going to his car, he gets shot and killed. One of the niggas involved in that dice game who he won the $100,000 on was Prince Jr. I'm going to just throw that out there. So now we have this current situation, which honestly is the least, you can't really deny that he is the main culprit and the main reason behind this shit happening, because this whole fight that these guys were involved in, JR and Ben 10 and everybody else that was in the NBA camp that was there, was revolving around this nigga Prince Jr. That's because Prince Jr. is currently fucking All-Star JR's baby mama. Yes, that is exactly what it's about. That is why this nigga's in critical condition. That is why another one of the NBA team members got shot. It's because Prince Jr., who is part of Mob Ties, not part of NBA, was fucking this Detroit nigga's baby mama. And for some reason, niggas from Louisiana had to get involved. Can you tell that I just think that this is all very, very goofy and very stupid especially on Ben 10 on them's part. Why are y'all going to go fight for another nigga over some pussy that neither one of y'all is getting? Make it make sense. That's crash out logic, I guess. But with all that being said, I do want to say I hope Ben 10 and everybody else involved makes a full recovery. I'm not trying to really blame them at the end of the day, because it's Prince Jr. who is the real issue. I just don't understand what it is with this guy that people don't seem to get at this point, especially these rappers. I don't know what it is about Houston. I understand Houston's a beautiful city. I understand that, you go out to Houston, you want to have some fun, you want to experience it, but it's getting to the point where if you are in the hip hop world and you're going into Houston, if you don't have business, if you are just going down there for no reason, you need to keep your head on the swivel. You need to really not just be out and about, not just be out there lacking, for lack of a better term, because There's sharks out there. These guys literally are just, where they go, death comes. And that is a terrible, terrible mix. It's a terrible, terrible thing to have happen. I'm honestly just glad that this guy JR didn't get killed, because listen, the video and the report show is him fighting off more than one nigga. It wasn't just Ben 10 who he was in the scuffle with. You have niggas holding chairs above him, getting ready to just throw it. I don't know how he ended up getting that gun in his hand, but that could have saved his life, because if they were pulling that out to do him dirty or to do him harm, we'd be having a whole different discussion. But when it comes to Prince Jr., I really just hope that he knows that he's a goofy, because for you to be putting a battery in Ben and his crew's back, wanting them to do his dirty work, then you leave when things take a turn. Again, I'm not saying that he should have stayed and tried to shoot it out with the dude, but even if you don't have a gun, this is why you have to pick who you choose to be around very wisely. Because Ben and everybody else could have been at home, they could have been chilling, they could have been enjoying themselves, they could be waking up today, enjoying and living their life, and not being in critical condition. But because they chose to allow this nigga to hype them up, to for some reason make them think that they need to fight his battles for him, that he's so important, that he is like, I guess, some mob boss. Now, this is sort of what I don't like about this whole, and I know that I never thought that I would be the guy that grew up and ended up sounding like this, but this is sort of what I don't be understanding about the whole YN crash out culture, is that, what is the purpose? Are you just fighting to fight? Were you just there to be there? And I understand, right or wrong or dead wrong, you're going to be with your brother. But at the end of the day, at a certain point, is your brother not his own man when it comes to fighting over some pussy? Because that's what this was about. This man was taunting with JR's baby mama on Instagram and everything like that. This is a personal squabble. This really is something that, the more you look into it, and I don't know if there's anything more to the whole JR and Prince Jr. beef. I've searched for it. I wasn't able to find anything. So as far as I can tell, this is about a woman. Since when was it that if your brother is into it with somebody over a girl, instead of just running a fair one or a fade, you have to go get 5 niggas to jump him? That's the goofiness that I'll never be able to understand. I'll never be able to comprehend. And that's the part of this story that just doesn't make any sense to me. But the older I get, and I keep saying this, the older I get, the more the less, I should say, I start to understand a lot of the shit that goes on when it comes to with these entertainers and with this hip hop culture. And I feel like not just because of the age, just because the more I think about what goes into becoming a rapper and why these certain rappers get the attention and the mainstream backing that they do, is because they know that these niggas don't make wise decisions. I've said it before. I don't know if I've said it on here, but I'm going to say it now. Understand that when it comes to these labels, they are not looking for people who are going to read their contracts over a couple of times and make sure that everything is dotted and punctuated the way they want it to be. They are looking for people who are just hungry, who just want some quick cash thrown at them, who are desperate, who don't have the mental fortitude sometimes to really think about the decisions that they're making. And I'm not blaming those people. I'm just telling y'all how it is. So, rappers are fucking stupid. I don't really have any other way for that to come across, for me to say it. I just really think that a lot of these rappers are dumb as hell, and that's just the cycle of things right now. I really don't got much else. There was so much over this last week that I had to come out and give y'all something. I had to just coalesce all these stories into one, because at the end of the day, rappers are just fucking stupid, y'all, and I don't really know what else to tell you. But this has been Kinetic Aesthetic. I hope you are having a beautiful Monday, and I hope that you continue to have a great rest of your week. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, leave a comment while you're at it, and above all else, be great people, drink a lot of water, tell your friends and family that you love them, and make sure that you stay up to date and in tune for the next episode of Kinetic Aesthetic. I'm your boy Germ, and I'm out.